Hello, everybody. It is Friday in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My name is Adam Bittner, assistant sports editor for multimedia at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Joined for the Friday episode of the North Shore Drive by Jason Mackey, our Post-Gazette sports columnist. We're going to be talking about best case scenarios for the Steelers this season. If it's all going to work out, what will that look like? What will be maybe the three biggest reasons for it? We're going to talk through that in the next 10 minutes or so. Before we do, we want to thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's Edgar Snyder Associates. When you've been hurt on the job, who decides when you're better? Who decides when your treatment is over? Who decides when your benefits are over? The answer might surprise you. Insurance companies, doctors do. How does that make you feel? If the answer is not great, call Edgar Snyder Associates today at 1-800-94-EDGAR. They'll fight for the work comp rights you deserve. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. Jason, you and I were going back in texting, what do we want to talk about today? Because this is, I think you mentioned on another podcast, this is the slowest week in the NFL now. It didn't used to be, but there's this insane ramp down before the ramp right back up. So we got to come up with some rain delay material here. Why don't you tell me what your top three reasons are? I guess we can start with number one. If this works out, if the Steelers become a Super Bowl contender, what are the top three reasons that's going to happen?
Yeah, and I could start with the quarterback, Adam, because obviously that's going to be important. But I'm actually going defense, and specifically with the pass rush, and that it returns to an elite group. That TJ Watt plays at a defensive player of the year level, that Alex Highsmith maybe makes a Pro Bowl, that Cam Heyward, Derrick, Harmon et al., that the Steelers just become maniacs up front, and they form an identity. Maybe that's relative to coverage on the back end and the big three working. I think that's a big part of it. But to me, it's actually defense. And I thought about that. And like Aaron Rodgers is a part of it. You need wide receiver depth to develop. There's all kinds of other stuff on the offense. I'll get to that shortly. But that's why I went with the defense. Aaron Rodgers finding the fountain of youth. If I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, that's number 2 for me. That he stays healthy. He looks like he did 4 or 5 years ago. So far, I've liked what I've seen in that respect. And then I'm going to go off the board for a third one, Adam. Broderick Jones becomes an elite left tackle, like Pro Bowl level good, all pro, keeps Aaron Rodgers upright. And we all look at this thing and we say, my goodness, where's this version of Broderick Jones been? So defense / pressure, Aaron Rodgers, fountain of youth, and Broderick Jones. What do you have?
Why do you think we haven't talked about the defense as much? Well, we've talked about the defense, but why do you think we've not talked about the pass rush, given that there were issues with TJ Watt last season? I feel like it's kind of flown under the radar throughout this training camp of, he didn't get home as much as they wanted to. The pass rush was not what people have become accustomed to on a team level. It wasn't like, he was drawing all the attention and you had another guy racking up 20 sacks.
It wasn't good last year, Adam. It wasn't good.
And why do you think we've just kind of glossed that over? Or is it just the theory of the Steelers in 2025 does not work if those guys don't find a way to get back to where they were?
I don't think it's been glossed over. I mean, I just think there may be newer, sexier topics that we're talking about. Derrick, Harmon coming in and how he's looked, and Yahya Black had a really good preseason, and Cam Heyward squawking about his contract. And like, it's been very, well, I guess not squawking, but you know what I mean. Like there's been a lot of reason to focus on the defensive line and stopping the run. There's been a lot of reason to focus on the secondary. You bringing in Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slade Jr. Like they're not small moves. How does it all fit together? We don't have the answers to those questions. The Minkah Fitzpatrick trade. Naturally, there's a lot of headline grabbing there, but I just, in the middle of that defense, and it probably right or wrong, I lump a lot of it, the pass rush on the outside guys and TJ Watt specifically. And I don't know. It's been on my mind, so it's hard to say for everybody else, but I mean, they were not good in that department last year. They need to be a heck of a lot better.
Well, I think it comes down to that defensive line too, Jason. We talk about it in terms of stopping the run and how that's going to be the most important thing, especially if you intend to, beat Baltimore in a playoff scenario like you ended up in last season. But I think they have the potential for the defensive line to apply more pressure as well, which should free up TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith to some extent. So maybe that is all part of the same conversation on some level.
That's fair. That's fair. And I remember going out to Latrobe a couple weeks ago and asking TJ Watt about that. And he was adamant about rush and coverage working together. And, Obviously the defensive line occupying blocks going to work alongside the linebackers. I just, it worries me a little bit, Adam. Like, I can't sit here and say on August 28th, like, I feel as good as I would like to about all that stuff. I still have questions. I mean, Alex Highsmith didn't play throughout the preseason. He insisted to us on Monday that he was going to be fine. But I mean, we're just going to go from 0 to 60 just like that. Derrick Harmon's going to be out. Yahya Black, again, looked good in the preseason. Is that going to translate? I thought Keeanu Benton was kind of quiet. Like, I would like to see more pressure-filled packages or successions of plays. I haven't seen that. But I don't know. We also saw the Steelers look like world beaters and like Kenny Pickett being the best quarterback ever a couple years ago. So I try to slow my roll come preseason time.
You mentioned Aaron Rodgers as a big reason that this might come together. I think you can't look beyond that position, especially given the way last season ended. I guess the way I want to frame the question about him is this. He didn't do any preseason work. He was missing a lot of his guys in practice and in the preseason. I think it'd be different if everyone was healthy and you're working on the practice field and getting reps in that way. But I somehow doubt that they're going to have the fluidity at the very beginning here against the Jets. And we've seen that early in seasons. Think about that game in Atlanta last year that they didn't score a touchdown, won with a bunch of field goals. Are you expecting to see more of that as they try to find their offensive identity with this guy and hope that the defense plays well enough that they can win games exactly like they did in Atlanta last year?
I have like PTSD when you bring up that Atlanta game, man. That was just like infuriating to be there. I feel like I'm back at the Mercedes-Benz Dome or Stadium, whatever it is. You know what, though? I disagree with you slightly. Like, I think there could be some early season hiccups. I think that's certainly a fair criticism. I worry about them more in the running game. I actually don't worry about them with Rodgers as much because of Aaron Rodgers. I think there's going to be some fluidity to their passing game just based on his experience and what they're doing and timing and what they're trying to find. I mean, basically, if you're saying Aaron Rodgers is not going to be ready off the hop, it's because his like brain is tired or something, right? Like, a lot of that is predicated on mental reps. He's not having to chuck the ball 40 yards downfield. It should be looking at what an opposing defense does, deciphering where to go with the ball. I've liked that part of it. I'm encouraged by that side of Aaron Rodgers as much as I am kind of discouraged or scared. Just like, how long is this guy going to go? Are we really expecting the 42-year-old quarterback to get through the entire season healthy? I hope so. That would be a lot of fun. But like, that's where it breaks down with me for Aaron Rodgers. Like, does he suddenly turn into Ben from a couple of years ago? Does he get hurt? Like, just what's the longevity there? But I don't worry as much about him early in the season as I do maybe the running game.
Does Broderick Jones have to hit Pro Bowl caliber this year for them to get where they want to go? I think that's where the Steelers want him to go organizationally. I think that validates the draft pick. You're in year 3, so it shouldn't be too far off in the future, but he hasn't put that season together yet that makes you say, okay, that guy's solid. And is that an acceptable outcome? Is that maybe he's not an elite guy, but you're looking at him at the end of this season or maybe even in a couple of weeks here and saying, that guy can do this. He can do this job in ways that we haven't necessarily seen to this point.
I mean, I'll take that outcome. Do I think that is that what the Steelers want? Is that what he wants? Is that what probably the Steelers need? No. I would err on the side of he does need to be Pro Bowl caliber good because of what I said before. Your quarterback's 41. I like what Arthur Smith's been doing. And we've talked about it on this pod before, Adam, getting the ball out quickly, rhythm passing, all that stuff. Like, I don't think this is set up or designed for Aaron Rodgers to take a bunch of hits. But if Broderick Jones is a sieve, we've got a problem. If Broderick Jones isn't blocking in the run game, we've got a problem. So Pro Bowl level good, I mean, sure, that's what I want. I don't think it all falls apart if he's just below that. But if Broderick Jones is bad, I'll say this. If Broderick Jones is bad, they're in a heap of trouble. And the same thing with Troy Fautanu, because the depth on the offensive line, I don't know about you, it doesn't do it for me. It is one of my biggest concerns about this team, no doubt.
Yeah, I think it's a valid concern, but we also saw them lose guys at guard last year, find a way to stick Mason McCormick in there. You get
yeah, but they don't have any recent draft. They don't have any guys like that just hanging around right now.
Yeah, it's true. And if you start getting injuries, then it becomes, interesting what you do at tackle. I think especially. I wanted to ask you briefly about Troy Fautanu before we wrap up here. This time a year ago, we were talking about him as he's the best offensive lineman in this group. He's the best guy that they have. Gets injured, we don't see him. I haven't heard that level of hype from him. What are your expectations for him? Do you want to see him get to that same Pro Bowl level? Of course you do. But is that the expectation? Is that what this team needs? Or do you just want him to see him be solid like we were just talking about with Broderick Jones?
Yeah, I don't think, at least me personally, I'm not expecting as much out of Fautanu as I am Broderick Jones, just because like Broderick Jones has a couple years in the league, higher pick, I think higher ceiling. I don't know. I hesitate to say that because I don't think Fautanu's ceiling is low by any stretch. It just, he missed all of his rookie year because of injury. I'm willing to give him some grace here and let him get back, let him get his feet under him. Whereas Broderick Jones, I don't care if you're playing a new/old position. I need to see a lot. So I can live with a little bit more on the right side.
Jason, we are going to be talking about the worst case scenarios if the Steelers don't perform this season. Why will that be? So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. That'll be coming up later in the day. Subscribe, like this video if you enjoyed it. Help us out in the YouTube algorithm. We always appreciate that. And we will talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.